The Athletic.
Hello and welcome to the Race F1 briefing on Saturday the 23rd of November 2024. I'm Rob Hansford, and in this episode we're going to give you a full rundown of everything that happened on track on Saturday at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. It was a busy session with a tightly packed field, so let's see how it all played out. Since the cars took to the Las Vegas circuit on Thursday, it's been Mercedes setting the pace, and so it should have been no surprise to see one of its cars claiming pole position for Sunday's race. On Friday, it was Lewis Hamilton who was the faster of the two Mercedes, but in qualifying it was George Russell that rose to the occasion to take pole position. On the final flying lap of the session, he managed to beat Carlos Sainz's effort to clinch the top spot on the grid by a mere tenth of a second, with his third pole position of the season. It's a stark turnaround in fortunes for Mercedes, having recently struggled for outright single-lap pace in qualifying when it's dry, so this will be a very welcome result. "It feels incredible to be back on pole," said Russell. "We've been so quick all weekend, and I just knew coming into that last Q3 lap, that's going to be the one that counts." Russell had what he called a moment on his first flying lap in Q3, which required a change of front wing, and he was concerned he wasn't going to cross the line for his final lap before the checkered flag came out. But now the team needs to do a deep dive to establish why the car is so quick in Vegas, because it came as a real surprise. Hamilton had less to be happy about though. He was on the pace through the opening two qualifying sessions, but in Q3 he was seemingly nowhere and ended up qualifying 10th, with his final lap deleted for track limits. Speaking after the session, he admitted he just didn't do the job. "The car felt different in Q3, he said. "Stability was not there for some reason. But I'd had it in all the other sessions, but ultimately I didn't put a lap together." With the cold conditions making it difficult to find the right level of grip, it made it possible for drivers to spring a surprise or two. Pierre Gasly took full advantage and pulled off a great lap to put his Alpine third on the grid for Sunday's race. Gasly's impressive lap follows on from a superb Grand Prix for Alpine last time out in Brazil, when both of its cars scored a podium. Gasly's best effort in Q3 was only 2 tenths shy of Sainz in second, but more importantly was just under a tenth better than the second Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, who will start alongside him on the second row of the grid. Speaking after the session, Gasly said, "It's unbelievable, honestly. We didn't think we'd be able to achieve a top 3 in the quali. I knew crossing the line it was a good lap, but when they came up on the radio telling me we were lining up third tomorrow, it's just amazing." Gasly wasn't the only driver to put together a decent lap though. Yuki Tsunoda ended up 7th fastest in the RB, as he shone again while his teammate Liam Lawson and Red Bull's Sergio Perez had a difficult session, ending up 15th and 16th respectively, with Perez dumped out in Q1. "I was quite happy with how I built up throughout the sessions," Tsunoda said. "A lot of setup changes were made, and what I had in terms of my opinions were in the right way. It went the right way. But pretty happy with my lap, to be honest. A lot of things to revise, but I would say P7 is not a result we expected. We'll take it." He's definitely making a stronger case for himself that Red Bull should be considering him if it really is thinking about replacing Perez for next year.
The Race F1 briefing.
There was one thing that Williams could not afford this weekend: a crash. But at the end of Q2, that's exactly what it got, when Franco Colapinto hit the wall in the final sector at turn 16. Early on in qualifying, it looked like Williams might have the potential to get through to Q3. But with Alex Albon going out in Q1, Colapinto was Williams' final hope of that becoming a reality. It looked like it might have been possible too, with Colapinto going fastest in the first 4 of the 8 mini-sectors in the final sector. But he misjudged the penultimate corner, hitting the wall with his front left wheel before careering across the track and making contact with the wall on the other side. His Williams was subjected to extensive damage as a result, and caused a delay while the barrier was repaired. Colapinto's crash will be a bitter pill for Williams to swallow, especially since it already has a shortage of parts, after Colapinto and Albon both had multiple big crashes between them in Brazil. The team is also getting close to not having funds to build new parts due to the cost cap limitations. And given the size of the impact, which was measured at around 50G, there's a real possibility that Colapinto may not be able to start tomorrow's Grand Prix. A statement from Williams read, "An impact of this magnitude is obviously significant and severe, and he will need to be evaluated again tomorrow before we will know whether he is clear to race. Franco's health is all that matters, and we are glad he is otherwise okay. Colapinto wasn't the only driver to have a tough day at the office though. Aston Martin once again found itself trailing at the back of the field, with Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll ending up 17th and 20th. It was no real surprise to see Stroll confined to last though, as he only got one lap in Q1, having missed the majority of the session as his team conducted repairs to his car following an ERS failure in FP3. And to add insult to injury, its current closest competitor, Alpine, appears to have made a step forward in Las Vegas. Sauber will be disappointed that Valtteri Bottas could do no better than 19th, but there were reasons for it to be optimistic. Zhou Guanyu, who struggled with one lap pace all year, managed to put his car 13th on the grid. Zhou said after the session that the new package somehow looks a little bit towards what I've wanted for a long time. Can he make a further leap to get Sauber's first points of the season tomorrow? It might be a tough ask, but in Vegas, nothing is impossible. Considering they've dominated most of this year's championship, Max Verstappen and Lando Norris appeared to be floundering in no man's land on Saturday. Neither of them had brilliant pace in qualifying, with the pair ending up 5th and 6th on the grid for tomorrow's race, albeit ahead of their respective teammates. It's Verstappen who will start from 5th, who had been slightly faster than Norris through each of the qualifying sessions, and with his main championship rival starting right behind him tomorrow, it should make for a fascinating contest, especially since Norris cannot afford for Verstappen to beat him. If Norris is to stop Verstappen taking his 4th World Championship title on Sunday, he needs to not only beat Verstappen, but secure 3 more points than him. On paper, that currently looks like a tough ask, and with McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri also struggling, having ended up 8th in qualifying, he won't have a wingman from the outset to aid his bid. Norris said that the low-grip nature of the circuit doesn't suit our characteristic of car, which is why he wasn't further up the order. But even though he's starting behind Verstappen tomorrow, he won't change his approach. He's pretty likely to win the championship. I'm here to race and do my best in every single race I can, said Norris. Whether Max finishes ahead or not, that's life. He's only just ahead of us today. I think we have a chance to beat them tomorrow. I'll go out and do my best like I do in every single race. And whatever the outcome is, the outcome is. So Verstappen goes into Sunday's race with yet another championship advantage over Norris, but Verstappen isn't Norris's only concern. With the constructors' battle so tight between McLaren and Ferrari now, and both Ferrari drivers starting ahead, Norris will need to enter damage limitation mode to ensure that 36-point advantage is not substantially reduced. Well, that's all we have time for in today's episode. It was a fascinating day of on-track action, and we can't wait to see how it all plays out. Can Alpine get a 2nd consecutive podium? Will Mercedes stay on top? And could we see the 2024 World Champion crowned? We'll soon find out. In the meantime, head to the-race.com to read all of the latest stories from our fantastic team of writers, and I look forward to catching you up on our full race recap tomorrow. Goodbye!
The Athletic.
As you've probably heard by now, we've teamed up with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for our listeners each week. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code THEATHLETIC, and you'll get a 1-year subscription to The Athletic, plus up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using bonus code THEATHLETIC. Make your first deposit of at least $10, place your first bet on any game, and claim your voucher for a 1-year subscription to The Athletic. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code THEATHLETIC, and you'll get a 1-year subscription to The Athletic, plus up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager.